The time has arrived. The 39th Royal Rumble event is finally here, and it's coming to us this year from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, whether we like it or not. For me, this is always the highlight of the wrestling calendar. The chaos, the surprises, the countdowns, nothing beats it. And tonight we'll be looking ahead to all the madness coming this weekend. We'll stick our necks out and make some predictions. And of course, we'll finish with a quiz to test Daniel and Sanjay's trivia skills. But before we look forward, let's look back to days and Rumbles gone by. So Daniel, Sanjay, when you guys look back on the past 30 plus years, and that makes me feel old, but the last 30 plus years of Royal Rumbles, do you guys have any particular standout moments or memories that you have?
The first one that comes to mind for me was the Flair Rumble, particularly Bobby Heenan. If I had to pick one moment, it's when he turns on Piper. He starts going, it's not a skirt, it's a kilt. And then once he punches Flair and he goes, it's not a kilt, it's a skirt. Even today, if I watch it, it still makes me chuckle. That's the one that gets me. There's loads of little things throughout that whole thing, but Heenan in that Rumble is just incredible. The only other one that really come to mind was, I think people are calling it the Sermon on the Mount by Punk.
Oh, well, in the middle of Straight Edge.
Yeah, because you see, I remember the Diesel one being like the classic example. He'll throw people out and he's got the ring to himself and he's waiting for more. Steve Austin did it as well. But then they're just waiting. Punk's really embracing this. And I think there was one moment, I can't remember who it was, might have been Zack Ryder or something. And he's like, before I was so rudely interrupted. It's probably the best Carly has ever been. They just used him perfectly, and Beth Phoenix laying into Punk to sort of end it. It's just so much fun.
Is that the Rumble where Beth Phoenix had a really weird kiss with Carly?
That's how she eliminated him. He was the Punjabi playboy at the time.
That's right.
And, he lifts her out onto the apron, and then she kisses him and pulls him out that way. And then she just wails on Punk, and it was just so much fun. So that stands out for me.
There's something about that dynamic, isn't there, of a particular heel having a really long run in the match itself, sometimes on their own. I remember was it the 2021? And it was Lesnar who, as a heel, was chucking him out. And then
2020. Yeah.
That's it. And then you had the Keith Lee moment where he comes out and Lesnar's like, oh, big boy. And I think that was Drew's Rumble, wasn't it? That was where sort of Drew finally went over the top, so to speak, in terms of reaching the next level.
Yeah, so because I remember he come in at number 1, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that actually might be one of my favorite Rumble performances.
Definitely is mine.
Yeah, it's right up there for me. Maybe Kane in 2001, but that Lesnar one is really high. Oh, and Flair, obviously.
The Flair one you described, Dan, was that the one where he won the title and it was with tears in my eyes that he cut that really amazing promo afterwards? Yeah.
He come in at number 3, which is, spoiler, I think where Charlotte might come in.
Do you think that's where she's coming in on
No, I think they've already played that card, but there's no reason they can't do it.
Awesome. Sanjay, what are your favourite Rumbles or favourite memories?
And the Royal Rumble itself was probably my favourite event. It's just so entertaining. Sometimes could be disappointed with the winner, but it's just the match itself is so entertaining. Mm-hmm. I really like the olden days where Stone Cold used to come, the pop from the crowd, and it's just like everybody in the ring turns around, stop fighting each other, looking for where's Stone Cold, because they all know that guy's going to win anyways, and throw everyone over the ropes. That was probably my favourite at the time. And then, like Daniel was saying, the Lesnar one, because I'm a big Lesnar fan, and then you got to see Brock Lesnar, with Shelton Benjamin, the MVP, quite a few, Keith Lee, like you mentioned as well, Rey Mysterio, so many people would come in and out. And it's just, you get that moment with Brock Lesnar just kind of throwing everybody out of the ring.
I think the big Lesnar memory I have, Rumble-wise, is his first win. Was it 2003? And he'd only joined the company in '02. So then suddenly here was this guy who's in the business, or in WWE rather, less than a year. And suddenly he wins the Royal Rumble and he's off to an awesome WrestleMania match with Kurt Angle.
When it's getting crowded and then you get a big guy coming in, whether it's Kane, Braun Strowman, Big Show, Undertaker, anyone, and it's just like clearing the ring. And that's probably the best bit. You're just waiting for someone to come in, strong person, and just get everybody out.
I think for me, so I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my wrestling fandom started a little later. Like I was already a teenager, so I didn't grow up with like the action figures or Hogan or Flair in that case. So the first Rumble I actually remember watching was the 2000 Royal Rumble. And so for UK watchers and listeners, we didn't historically always get good access to WWF as it was at the time. And my parents never had Sky or whatever it was we needed to actually watch these shows. But then suddenly it was on Channel 4. Do you boys remember that? Are you old enough to remember that? There was a period of time where Sunday Night Heat was on Channel 4, and then the Royal Rumble was the first pay-per-view that aired for free on Channel 4. And yeah, I can remember sitting up and watching it live. I had school the next day. I think that's the night that my wrestling fandom sort of progressed from, I quite like this, to, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, looking back at the card, even aside from the Rumble itself, you had the Dudleys and the Hardys in a tables match, and then Triple H and Cactus Jack in a street fight. I think it stands up as one of my favorite matches I've ever seen. Just absolutely awesome. And then, yeah, watching the Rumble itself live was amazing. But obviously, we're not going to be sticking around in the past too long. It's time for us to look ahead to the 39th Royal Rumble, which happens on Saturday. And for us UK viewers, happens at a really, really lovely time. I think it starts at 7 p.m. UK time, which will make a nice change to not have to stay up half the night watching it. So let's start with Gunther versus AJ Styles. And of course, if AJ Styles loses, he must retire. We've talked a little bit about this already on previous podcasts, but we're right on the eve of that match now. And since we last recorded, we've had two big AJ Styles matches. His match with Shinsuke at Saturday night's main event, and he had a match with CM Punk. Sanjay, what do you think we will see on Saturday? What do you think of this AJ maybe retirement run?
I think it's happening. I think this is the time literally for AJ to retire, and Gunther will be probably the perfect heel to kind of make that another tick list off his box after Goldberg, John Cena. And it looks like that as well, because he's had two, like you just said, really amazing wrestling matches with competitors that we thought we would want to see one time, and it was for the belt, CM Punk, which made it a bit more special. And you can see in AJ Styles' eyes as well, it's kind of showing that he's given all he's got, what's left in the tank for his last few matches. I think it will be Gunther takes a win.
There's a post from Shinsuke that did the rounds on social media where it seemed to suggest that AJ had said to Shinsuke that he was done at the Rumble at Saudi, and that was no question, that's when he's retiring. So it does seem like you might be right.
I don't want to believe it's going to happen. Michael Cole on Saturday said something that made it sound like Shinsuke was the first of many guys that he wanted to wrestle again in his last year. And then he said something to the same effect on Raw. I think it's just something to hang on to make me go, oh, maybe Cole's accidentally said that, knowing that he's going to have a few more matches and a few more feuds. I think I'd like to think that AJ would win. But initially, when they first did announce the Shinsuke match, straight away my thought was he's definitely losing to Gunther. And then the Cole thing sort of threw me off a bit. I was like, oh, maybe there's that chance. I think my heart says AJ, my head said Gunther. I think the Punk match kind of reaffirmed what my head was already thinking. and both were amazing matches. I think if you're going to go out on, it's going to be the space of a week come time of the Rumble. So in the space of 1 week, you've had your last week in wrestling, you've had 3 matches, and they've been a banger with Shinsuke, damn good match with CM Punk for the title, and what should be an amazing match against Gunther. If he doesn't lose, then I don't think you're going to find another trio of matches so quickly for him to hang his hat on.
I think you're right. I think that he'd be hard pressed to find, as you say, a trio of better matches. I thought the Shinsuke match was outstanding, absolutely wonderful. Similar to the CM Punk Finn Balor match. There's Shinsuke. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the CM Punk match last night was good. I didn't enjoy it as much as the Shinsuke one, nor did I enjoy it as much as Punk Balor, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought the crowd maybe took a while to get into it, and there were lulls in the match, I think, for me. I thought Punk particularly looked really tired, and I know that that's kind of his character, isn't it, right now, that he's this grizzled, greying veteran still trying to run it until the wheels fall off. But I think it may be overstating it to say I was disappointed with the AJ Punk match, but I thought it still had somewhere to go. But I think, to your point, Daniel, yeah, absolutely 3 stellar matchups there to end on, and if he were to win, kind of begs the question, what else would there be left for him? I know we spoke last week on the pod and thought maybe it would come back around that you know, this would be AJ getting his win back against Gunther, and then they'd maybe decide it at WrestleMania, which might be a more fitting retirement stage for AJ. But I think I'm in agreement that Gunther wins. I'm saying Gunther. Sanjay
Definitely think it's Gunther.
and Daniel.
My money's on Gunther.
I see what you mean as well about the whole heart versus head thing.
Just to throw back to what I said last week, like AJ Styles has always said that he likes to do things differently. Why do you have to retire at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
The Rumble is just as good, if not probably their greatest event of the year.
And it has the symmetry. It has the 10-year symmetry of it being 10 years to the weekend that he debuted. Yeah, I guess I wish that it didn't happen quite so close to Cena's, because then maybe AJ would have got more of those really top-line matches over the winter. But then I guess you look at his match with Cena, which was like a love letter to pro wrestling, I've seen it called. It kind of puts a new light on it now that we know we're so close to the end with AJ as well. The only other non-Rumble match we have on the card is the WWE Championship match, and that is our champion Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, who managed to win the Fatal 4-Way at Saturday night's main event. Goes on to face Drew McIntyre, who is it 11-0, or is it even more than that?
He did say in one of the segments, he said, I've beaten you like 11 or 12 times or something.
And without Sami ever getting a win back, I think they've stumbled into a really, really great story beat here of Sami trying and never getting it done against Drew. What did you guys think of the 4-Way at SNME, and what do you see happening on Saturday night in Saudi?
It's just a really good match. I thought Sami looked great, and he always does in Montreal. And I liked that they were trying to add a bit more tension between Drew and Sami. I think it should be a really good match at the Rumble. I don't think Sami's winning, but they're 2 guys that I really like. And Drew's like such a great heel, and Sami's going to get so cheered in Saudi. It could actually be really special.
I think you're right. I think that Saudi energy is arguably never going to be higher than when Sami Zayn comes out for that match with Drew.
It does make you wonder that if you beat Sami and deflate that crowd a little bit, the placement of it could be really important. But I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see.
Well, because it could be, looking at it, now you've talked about card placement, I think that's a really interesting question, because presumably they'll bookend the Rumbles because they won't want to go back-to-back Rumbles. Presumably it'll be the women that open because women struggle to main event, and I would say maybe that's even more the case in Saudi Arabia. But then, so you've got the Women's Rumble, and then you could have back-to-back AJ Styles retiring and Sami Zayn losing. That's going to be a weird dynamic if they do go down that route to pick them back up for the Rumble. Yeah, I'm intrigued by that. Sanjay, what do you think?
The Fatal 4-Way match was good. Did enjoy it. I don't think Sami Zayn will win, though. I don't think he will beat Drew. I just think the plan for Drew is Drew, Cody, and Jacob, triple threat for the belt at WrestleMania. I think Sami Zayn is just like a little trial. Like we were talking about previously in the podcast, where we think Sami Zayn for WrestleMania in Saudi will probably be his moment.
Right, that looms large, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because I don't see him winning this Royal Rumble.
I like them both so much. I kind of think that whichever way it goes, I'll be happy. And whichever way it goes, I'll be sad, if that makes sense. Because, as you say, the deflation of Sami not getting it done when it could feel like he's riding the crest of that wave.
Maybe you do the Sami match first. But if you do the AJ match second, you've kind of got that luxury of AJ getting the happy thank you, clap, clap, clap. Even though he's lost and it's sad, there's that recognition being given to him, and that's the happy moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's so soon to take the title off Drew.
Yeah.
I think Drew wins. Are we all in agreement again? Seems like we are. We have nodding faces from everybody. Yeah. Drew.
Yeah.
So that's two matches, and the heels to win both matches. So we'll see how that goes. Shall we start, as WWE probably will, with the Women's Royal Rumble? So to break it down, we're going to do some predictions for these Rumble matches themselves. So we're each going to predict the first two entrants. So who's going to come out number one, number two. We'll also predict any big surprises or debuts or returns we think there might be. We'll predict the final four. And of course, we will predict who we think is going to win. And we might talk a little bit about Iron Men and Iron Women as well. So, first two entrants. Sanjay, who do you think for the women, number one and number two?
I'm thinking it'll be someone from Judgment Day, and the second will be literally somebody from either Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, or someone else in the tag team division who are partners, and they're probably gonna make that as the first match.
The tag division is like the story of the bigger part of the women's division, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you think someone from the Judgment Day. Daniel, are we going to allow Sanjay to be that vague with his pick? Yeah. All right. Okay. So someone from the Judgment Day and someone else from the tag division.
Because we know they ain't gonna win.
I thought you predicted Charlotte Flair or Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them are going to win. So they're obviously going to get the tag people in, start the match off, do a little bit of, storytelling there.
No one in that tag division is harmed by not winning the Royal Rumble, if that makes sense. Like the tag division and the tag picture is so enormous right now that I really could see there being a big multi-team thing down the road. Okay. Daniel, are you going to be any more specific?
I'm going to do a complete repeat of a few years ago. And number one is Rhea.
Okay.
And number two is Liv.
I like it.
I also think they're going to have a major focus on the tag teams for the first, probably half of the Rumble. And I was thinking, are they going to do the axe and smash thing where they come out at number 1 and number 2? I think they did it with the Hardys as well. Or are they going to do, a good example would be Charlotte versus Nia, because those two tag teams have been interacting a lot. And then nothing seemed to click. So I was just like, you know what? I think an EO come out at number 1 last year. So then I was like, okay, let's put Rhea at number 1. It does feed into every other prediction that I've got, though.
Okay, you're sticking in the realms of the tag division, and it might be no great surprise to learn that I have also plucked my number 1 and number 2 from the tag division. My first 2 are Asuka and Io Sky, because I think I just really want to see it. Because every time those two interact, I think it's electric, and I think you could tell the story that those two keep finding their way back to each other. I think there's a really interesting dynamic with Kairi and Asuka. They're emphasizing so much that Kairi's job is to help Asuka win the Rumble. And so I think there being a moment between Io and Asuka and Kairi could be really interesting. Yeah, Asuka and Io are my 2 picks for the first 2. But what about do you foresee any surprises, any big debuts or returns coming?
I think Blake Monroe will be in there. She's awesome. She was great as Mariah May as well. But I think give her the opportunity to show what she can do on I don't want to say on a big stage, because, AEW is a pretty big stage, but like on a big WWE PLE.
And she herself is always someone who spoke of WWE in terms of like it being the promised land. So I think for her perspective, it probably is the biggest stage.
I think she'd be a good pick for a surprise. I don't think we're going to get too many, and this is a spoiler, I don't think we're going to get too many NXT surprises in the men's Rumble, predominantly because we've had so many call-ups as of late. Whereas the women, because we've only had Jordan Grace, I think you can allow for one. And I think Blake Monroe is probably the most suitable. It's a big rumor floating around, still not 100% that it'll happen. But I would love to see Paige.
Yeah.
I think she may be like in my top 3 favorite female wrestlers. I have a real soft spot for Paige.
Her legacy is up there with anybody's, and I think I always felt a little bit like, when Nikki Bella was coming out just a few months ago and talking about how she was the kind of spark of the women's revolution, and I was like, no, you weren't. There was AJ Lee, there was Paige, and then all of the greatness that followed. I'll go ahead and say now that Paige is written down here on my list as well. But any other surprises or debuts from you, Daniel? Was that yours? Paige and Blake Monroe.
I mean, obviously, I think there's a couple of obvious ones. I think you two might say them though. I'll be interested to hear what you two are saying first.
All right.
I think AJ Lee's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and I think Tiffany Stratton's supposed to come back, so she needs to come and get back into a storyline from the picture of the title, which I'm thinking my prediction might be that she might win the Royal Rumble.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. You might have echoed my prediction for when we get to the winner as well. Because for surprises returns, I've got Paige. Tiffany Stratton is there as well. And also, and I'm hoping this isn't just me really hoping, I want to see Bianca Belair. Like, I want that finger to have healed, because I cannot believe that a broken finger could be this long lasting and this obviously hugely damaging to her. So I want to see her, and I was torn. I nearly thought Bianca Belair for the winner, but yeah. Let's talk final 4 before we properly nail down what our winner predictions are going to be. So I'll go first for this one, just because I'm always throwing to one side. So I think Rhea Ripley will be in the final four. I think Charlotte Flair will be in the final four. Tiffany, and as you mentioned just a moment ago, Sanjay, I think AJ Lee might make a sneaky final four appearance. So there's mine: Rhea, Charlotte, Tiffany, and AJ Lee. Sanjay, who have you got as your final four?
Tiffany Stratton,
Yep.
Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Liv Morgan. Everyone's going to be teaming up on the tag team, and I think Liv Morgan, anybody in the Judgment Day, really has that ability to kind of break that strategy from the other teams, but keep their strategy going. And I just think Liv Morgan will probably be the one to eliminate either Raquel Rodriguez or the other one. So,
Oh, you think Liv looks out for herself?
yeah, definitely.
It seems about right. Daniel, who's your final four?
I have Rhea and Liv lasting all the way from number 1 and 2 right until the final four, and they will be joined by Tiffany
Okay.
and Bianca. I think that one was a bit easier. The men's was hard. But I'll get to that. But the women's, I just thought, if you take the four most popular choices to win, or the bookies options, I think they're your top choices. I suppose this spoils my Iron Woman thing a little bit, because if they're
Of
making
course.
it that far, there's my four.
So let's talk how this thing plays out. Who is your Royal Rumble winner?
Liv Morgan.
Do you see it playing out a particular way?
I think she's going to eliminate Rhea last. Really struggle to pick between Bianca and Liv. And then in my mind, I'm just thinking maybe Bianca doesn't necessarily need to win a Rumble. Also, in the Women's Rumble, you had the return from injury last year and the winner. So I'm thinking they won't want to do it twice.
Right.
Whereas at least Liv has come back slightly before, re-established herself, and then gone on to win it. I just thought, well, why not tie into the history with Rhea? Because it just works really well. I mean, we've seen that at recent Saturday night and on Raw as well. Rhea and Liv they're always electric together.
And they're like wrestling soulmates, aren't they? They are
Kinda.
joined at the hip. And as you say, Rhea was coming out. They had a big 6-woman match on Raw, and Rhea was wearing her ring jacket. Was, I think, the jacket she wore when she came back from Liv injuring her, because it had like Rhea's Revenge Tour 2024 on it or something. So I thought, yeah,
I didn't even notice that actually, but yeah, because when I was watching Raw as well with the 6-women tag, I kept thinking, I don't know why they've not run this feud longer, like Io and Rhea and Roxanne and Liv, because they've got so much chemistry amongst each other, and it just works nicely. Plus, you're tapping into that Rhea and Liv history, and it kind of feels like they've rushed through it a little bit. No, we've had 2 really good matches from it, but maybe Liv winning the Rumble is why that's happened. You can't do another solo program with them. Let's just quickly get the tag one out of the way, and we've got a couple of weeks or a couple of shows of good matches.
Certainly have been good matches. I think if Liv hadn't have come back as early as she did, I was kind of like, Liv's nailed on to come back at the Rumble and she probably wins it. I think she'd have been my winner too, had she not come back so early. But yeah, Sanjay, tell us about your how your women's Royal Rumble plays out.
So Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton, I believe one of them would be my winners. Tiffany Stratton coming back and then jumping straight into the title picture, probably going after Jade. And then Liv Morgan definitely had as she said, this is going to be her year. And I think she's going for the title on Raw with Stephanie. I think that makes more sense for Liv as well. So both sides do work well for me.
Okay. If you had to pick one, and I am going to make you,
I'll
which
definitely
one?
pick Tiffany Stratton.
So Tiffany's your pick. Okay, and yeah, for me, Tiffany is my pick too, eliminating Charlotte last, because I think there could be a nice callback to that really interesting feud that they had heading into last year's WrestleMania.
I like Tiffy as a shout. I just wonder whether you really want to run Tiffany and Jade again, because we've seen it so much.
I don't necessarily think that Tiffany Jade is the direction.
Okay.
I think they have to go Bianca Jade. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves
Yeah.
here, but and you mentioned earlier, Daniel, that you didn't think Bianca needed the Rumble win. I don't think she needs the Rumble win to get to Jade, if that indeed is the direction. That's I think almost certainly a story you can tell without there being a title on the line.
I mean, I think it makes more sense for her to do something or win at the Chamber, because that was a catalyst for their breakup, for lack of a better term, last year. That's where Jade attacked Naomi. So
Indeed.
I think Elimination Chamber has more history with those two and their history together. So I don't know. I really like Liv. I think Liv inspires me more.
Do you know what? I think I would rather see Liv win the Rumble. So this prediction was very much a head prediction of maybe what I expect them to do. I kind of worry about how this goes over in the building. I think there's been times with certain women's matches where the crowd hasn't quite seemed as invested as they are with the big headline male stars. I think it's been getting better. I just worry that if my prediction is right and Tiffy does win, you think, what sort of reaction does she get? Before we go to the men, do we want to do Iron Women? Daniel, I think you've kind of already answered this question already, that essentially by definition, Liv Morgan's your Iron Woman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sanjay, do you have a thought as to who's going to be the longest in there?
I think Io Sky.
That's a good shout. I might pick someone different just so we don't keep picking the same person. Oh, I'm going to say Raquel Rodriguez. I think they've been pushing her a decent amount, and I think that would give her good impetus. I think that she's having a title match with Stephanie Becker. Is it the week
Next
after?
Monday.
Next week they're in Philadelphia Street Fight, so that could be a good storyline energy for her to go into that title match as the Iron Woman.
Yeah. I think Asuka's going to have a really good showing, partly because I think they might play on the Kyrie relationship. I could just imagine her constantly being on the precipice of going out and then going, Kyrie! And then eventually Kyrie eliminates her by mistake. I just think that would be, I think that would be brilliant.
That would be wonderful. Do you think, just because that made me laugh, and as soon as I laughed, I thought of Chelsea Green. What does Chelsea Green do in this Rumble?
Have we seen her get battered by a bunch of Japanese women yet? Because I was thinking this the other day, like they always go on about Japanese strong style. I just think it would be fun to have Asuka, Io, Julia, Kyrie just absolutely nailing and wailing on her.
I think she'd be a good foil for that. I think it'd be lovely as well to see her interact with some Raw superstars in that sense, because they've been kept well apart, haven't they?
She's been my favourite performer for the last couple of Rumbles. There was the one where Nia Jax and Piper were going at it, and they're just like accidentally ramming her and falling on her, and it's just really making me chuckle.
Chelsea Green is, I describe her as like great value. Like, I don't think it matters what you give her. Every minute she's on the screen, even if it's crap writing or booking or whatever, she just spins it into gold. Like I could watch her all day. She's amazing. So let's switch to the men's Royal Rumble. Sanjay, who are your first two entrants in this year's men's Royal Rumble?
I think number 1, Logan Paul. And number 2 will be Rey Mysterio.
Nice. It's a good callback to their, I think they teased a feud a little while ago, and it fits into the Vision versus everybody else.
I would say Austin Theory, but I don't really want him to be number 1, to be honest. So I'd rather Logan Paul.
Yeah. Maybe Austin Theory comes out number 1 and then falls over the top rope and then just see you later, guys. Yeah, they told the story on Raw, didn't they, as well, about the Vision being this united front and Logan Paul being the one to stand up and say, I think Bron Breakker should win the Rumble. Daniel, who's yours? Number 1, number 2.
I'm going balls to the wall, just like Saturday.
I really hope you're not going to say what I'm about to say, because I thought I was maybe the only one with this idea, but go ahead.
I'm going to go Cody and Jacob.
God damn it. God, I have it written on my list. I have Cody and Jacob. So you say your idea first, because I'm glad we're on the same page.
So I think it makes sense to get that out of the way early and just continue what was happening on Saturday, and then find a way to start the Rumble with them brawling everywhere and, in and out of the stand. If Jacob's not at number 2, then he'll be early so that we can get them 2 out of the way. On a technicality, I think Cody and Jacob will be the Iron Men.
Okay.
But most of their time won't be in the ring. And it's only because they're going to just be going. I just feel like they're just going to be going everywhere. I feel like there's going to be a fine line between focusing on them, which should be fun, and focusing on the Rumble. I think they did it quite well with Austin and McMahon. So maybe they can follow a similar sort of structure. But yeah, I just thought, you know what, go for it. Cody and Jacob at number 1 and 2.
Firstly, it's like you reached into my brain and took my thoughts, because I have almost exactly the same idea, that they come out 1 and 2. They brawl all over the arena, because I thought it was so much fun on Saturday night.
I will just say, we said about the pull apart at Wembley being really weak, and when I was watching Saturday, it reminded me of what you said last week, I think it was, where you said, oh, maybe they're saving it for Saturday. I was like, Ian said, yeah.
My God, were they saving it for Saturday?
Yeah.
And I want more of it. I want more and more and more. And I think
awesome.
if I had my way, they're in the ring long enough for them to actually ring the bell and start the Rumble, and then they're off and they're brawling all around. And I'd like it if they kept on like coming through the ring, just really briefly, maybe chucking a couple of goobers out on their way through, and they're hardly even thinking about this huge WrestleMania goal that they should all have in mind, because they are so focused on just kicking the crap out of each other. I think that could be really, really refreshing for the Rumble format as well.
I think they eliminate each other as well at some point. I think they barely interact with anyone other than each other.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the phrase "strike while the iron's hot" comes to my mind, and just like, yeah, do this. Cody's never been more interesting, arguably, or certainly hasn't in a long time, and it's perfect for both of them. So yes, bring on the carnage. Although I am pretty miffed that I wasn't the only one with that amazing idea, but we'll say great minds think alike. Hey, Daniel.
high five.
Excellent. So surprises, returns, debuts. Sanjay.
Roman Reigns. Hoping for him to come back. I want Seth Rollins to come back. I'm not sure if he's going to make it for this, because I did read something online saying that Seth Rollins has himself said he's not going to be for a good 6 months.
Well, yeah, it's a difficult one, particularly with Seth, isn't it? Because we had the whole crutches thing where everyone knew he wasn't really injured, but they still played us anyway, he says with air quotes. So yeah, it's hard to take him at his word, maybe, if he says that he's still got 6 months,
I'm sure everyone's seen the Unreal by now, so everyone knows what Seth Rollins is like. And then having Brock Lesnar back, I hope he's coming back as well.
I think Roman himself has declared for the Rumble, hasn't he?
He's declared, yeah.
And Brock, I don't think is declared, but he wouldn't. He'll just rock up and kick ass.
He wants that Saudi money.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's anything that's going to get him off his farm, it's going to be that Saudi payday. So you've got Lesnar, Roman. Do you guys think we see Chris Jericho? He's written on my list with a question mark.
So I wanted him to come back, but I wanted it to be AJ Styles in the Royal Rumble and Chris Jericho both kind of have a little feud and then lead to a match to WrestleMania. But with AJ Styles being busy with Gunther and his retirement, I just don't know. I'm just thinking who would be Chris Jericho's sort of next feud if he does return. And if he does return, I just don't think he'll be in the Royal Rumble. I think it'll be like a day after.
Well, my surprise lends into that a little bit. I do think we see Jericho. I can't wait to have Dom back. I love Dom, and I really want them to interact. And I really want Dom and Jericho. I really want a Dom and Jericho program.
That is inspired. I want that now. Like there's a sort of discourse I've seen sometimes online that particularly towards the end of his AEW run, that Jericho's kind of thing was like, oh, I'm going to hitch my wagon to whoever's hot right now and ride that wave for a little while, which him pairing up with Dom, I think, would lean into that discourse quite heavily. But my God, I want to see it. That's what great shit-eating grins they'd have as well as a tag team. That would be excellent stuff. And a nice Eddie Guerrero little drip in there as well with Jericho's career, obviously having been so closely linked.
I think Dom as well, like to your point, there was then complaints about Jericho with the younger talent. And I think Dominic's the sort of character who could draw from that and like get them moments for when he pulls Jericho up for being this sort of over the hill wrestler who, is feeding off of the young guys around him.
Yeah. As well with I remember Jericho and MJF with their program in AEW where they were like just both these awful heel people who are constantly trying to stab each other in the back but can't quite figure out how to do it, so they end up just sort of going along in parallel for a time. Yeah, you've spoken that idea into existence, I hope, because that would be amazing to see.
The one that gets me with Jericho is I wonder whether he's going to come out to break the walls down or Judas.
That's the question, isn't it?
And it's just like such a good question to have. Like, or it's like, I would like to hear break the walls down, but I really hope the audience would respond well to Judas as well, because it's such a good track.
I wonder if there's a way that they could have the countdown and then break the walls down and then somehow, without it being really awful, cut into Judas. So you like get the best of both worlds, or maybe I'm just trying to have my cake and eat it too. But yeah, I think we see Jericho. I think it's maybe the worst kept secret in wrestling right now that's where his next big contract is, and it's a matter of when, not if. And you talked about Brock Lesnar wanting that Saudi money. I think if Jericho can at all swing so that he can get himself a Saudi payday, because I think his last appearance for WWE was it Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi or Super Show? It was something in Saudi.
I think you might be right, actually. Yeah,
he wants that bag too. I think LA Knight returns and maybe gets involved with the Vision. I don't see much more than that for LA Knight. A spoiler for what's ahead, he's not in my final four, but I think it was obviously taken out by Bronson Reed and the Vision. So with them telling this story of the Vision trying to be the ones who dominate the Rumble, I think maybe we see LA Knight. The big call up rather than a debut, because he has already appeared, that I cannot wait for is Obafemi. I am so excited to see Obafemi. I thought the little bits I've seen of him when he had the promo with Cody and then the match with Cody, I just thought this guy's got it all, it seems. And those vignettes that they've been showing every Raw and every SmackDown, I've been like, yep, I know he's coming, so come on. And so I think he I think he dominates in the Rumble. I don't necessarily think he breaks the eliminations record, but I think he gets a fair few eliminations here, and there could be some really good
I think he gets the
interactions.
most for this Rumble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really like Oba. And he was great in NXT as well. He was a great champion. And I was going to bed last night thinking, is this the best opportunity you've got to have an NXT call-up win the Rumble on their debut?
I love it.
And I don't know if they will. Spoiler, I haven't picked him, but I think if you really wanted to say, look, this is the next step, what a guy to do it with. And very rarely you're going to get them stars. Maybe Bron Breakker was one of them. And I believe if Jay hadn't had won last year, I would probably be more inclined to pick Oba. But I think because they've had that new star vibe from last year, I feel like they might move away from that now.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because certainly I don't think anybody saw Jay winning last year. I know I certainly didn't. And the fact that they did pull the trigger and have him win the Rumble to close the show shows that we're back in the unpredictable realm again. I found both Rumbles really actually genuinely hard to confidently predict. And I think there have been years previously where it's actually been not easy because, of course, you're dealing with 30 people in each Rumble, but I found this year particularly unpredictable, which I think lends to how much I'm looking forward to it for sure. Final four. Sanjay, who's your final four for the men?
Well, I've got Bron Breakker, Roman Reigns. I want to say Seth Rollins, but I just don't know if he's going to be in there. That's the only reason why I don't really want to pick him. But then I've got Logan Paul. And then it's either...
Did you have Logan Paul starting at 1 as well?
I did.
Wow, so he goes Iron Man then.
He goes Iron Man for me, yeah.
Okay.
Because he's just one of those guys that keeps proving that he can do, wrestling as well as everything else that he's doing great at. So he's one of those performers that you can watch his match and say, man, it looks like he's been wrestling all life. And he's that great in the ring, actually.
I think this connection with the Vision has been the making of him as well, certainly from my perspective, because it's now not just about him having these banger matches with not much substance beyond the cool viral moments, and now he's actually become more of a working heel, I guess, for want of a better phrase. And I'm intrigued by the idea of Logan and Bron both being in the final four. I'll get back to that in a moment when I ask you, Sanjay, about your winner. But Daniel, who's your final four for the men?
I've also got Bron and Roman in my final four, to be joined by Bronson.
Okay.
And Jimmy Uso.
Jimmy Uso. Wow, you're going to have to expand on that. Tell me more. I mean, I don't think you've got Jimmy winning because you've just talked about Jay and that they won't do that again.
I think Jimmy's eliminating Jay, or at least I hope he does. And there's so many people, as you mentioned, that you could make an argument for winning. There's loads of people who, realistically have a shot. Roman, Bron, Logan, Gunther, LA Knight. And I think in a way you're whittling it down to the final two, which is Bron and Roman, but they've got their buddies to the side of them. The reason I like Jimmy going that deep after hopefully eliminating Jay is I hope they start telling the story that, can Jimmy repeat his brother's success from last year?
Okay.
It's like, give Jimmy that little moment. I'd like to see him in the final four. Will it happen? I'd say there's probably a 20% chance, but it's the best thing I could think of outside of trying to pick between LA Knight and Gunther and Brock Lesnar. And so yeah, that kind of, I hope if I call this, I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah, well, I dare say you're maybe one of the only voices calling Jimmy Uso for the final four.
I hope. I mean, if they do it, you have so much there because you've got two OG Bloodline members and then 2 Vision members who are the new faction. So there's a lot to like about it. But yeah, I think there's, for lack of a better term, there's a lot of poetry in having Jimmy Uso there.
I can see that, absolutely. You said there's a lot to like, and I think you're right. Although you talking about Jimmy eliminating Jay gives me chills as I think of another Jimmy versus Jay match, which I don't think I want to see.
I don't think they'll do another match. I think because Jay's kind of been dropping the heel tendency. So I just think it'll be you eliminated me from that battle royal a few months ago. Yeah, okay, I probably deserved that. But hey, you didn't win. I did.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to get along as tag team champions as well.
Yeah.
Because then you got the NFTs now as well, new champs.
Yes, yeah, we of course haven't touched on anything from SmackDown, but yeah, MFTs are the new tag team champions. So I'm sure the MFTs will have a faction story during the Rumble itself. But it seems like none of the three of us have Solo in our final fours, so we'll see what happens there. I think all three of us have picked Roman and Braun in our final fours. Because they're both in mine as well. I also have Gunther, who I think is going to pull double duty, and Brock Lesnar as well. So Gunther, Roman, Brock, and Braun as this really big time. What did Big E say that time? Big beefy men slapping meat or something? Big meaty men slapping
man
meat.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's my final four. So that brings us on to who wins. Daniel, who wins your Royal Rumble? Not Jimmy Uso, I'm guessing.
No, I don't know how it's gonna work in the scheme of things. I think it's Roman. I think Braun makes the most sense, but ultimately I've wrote Roman down, and I don't know why. I just think it makes the most sense.
I found this one really hard to call as well. What do you think he does at Mania then if he wins the shot at the Rumble?
That's the tricky thing. It's like this could be a massive swerve. Roman might not even make the final four, and he could get eliminated by Gunther. Gunther and Roman would be a great Mania match.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah,
but like, it feels like we're heading towards something for Roman. Originally, I wasn't sure how he was going to fit into the feud with Cody or Drew, but then maybe it's fake four-way.
So Cody, Drew, Jacob, and Roman.
Yeah, I mean, all four of them are really interconnected.
You've got to fit them all on the card as well. Like they're creating more and more big stars.
And we haven't seen a fatal four-way at that top level for Mania for.
The only one that comes to mind is Triple H. Was it a McMahon in every corner?
Yeah, McMahon in every corner. Wow, have we only had one four-way that's main evented Mania?
I can think of some triple threats, but
yeah,
that's the only four-way that springs to mind.
So why not? Like, I mean, I know four-ways. I mean, you know, they just proved on Saturday night's main event that you can do a good four-way, and I think with time to prepare and the quality of the talent involved, be a killer.
I think as well for Drew's sake, especially, I really want him to be involved right at the top of the Mania card this year. On either night, I don't mind which night, but he deserves it, you know.
But then the rumor was that it was going to be Roman and Seth at Mania, continuing on from last year. Why can't it be Roman and Punk at Mania, continuing on from last year? And that's why they've done the Bron Breakker thing early. But I really want Bron to have a championship match at Mania. But
okay, Sanjay, who wins yours?
So mine is also Roman Reigns. And I would say Roman Reigns and Bron Breakker being the last two, and everybody thinking Bron Breakker will win, and then Roman picks to win. Only because I think WrestleMania, what would happen was before that Elimination Chamber, Bron Breakker becomes the new champ, takes the belt off Punk. Roman initially wanted to go for Punk. And then it's Roman versus Bron Breakker at WrestleMania.
Wow, I like that direction. I think that's certainly putting Braun on a new massive stage, isn't it? And so hitching their wagon to him and saying, this is our next guy, to give him a one-on-one Mania title match with Roman. I find it very interesting that out of 30 men, some of which we don't have any idea who it will be, all three of us were torn between Roman and Braun because I was doing exactly the same thing. And I've actually gone for Braun Breaker because, I think he is their next guy. I wasn't as sure of it as I was a few weeks ago, because I think that the consensus was that his match with Punk struggled to live up to the expectation maybe that it had placed on it. And I could easily see them going with Roman again. I think you have to think as well, like, that it's the Saudi crowd, and certainly for the first few years of that Saudi deal, there was a real, we're going to give them the big stars, and the big stars are going to win because that's the deal. So I could easily see it being Roman standing tall at the end, but I've gone for Braun Breaker. I don't know how Braun Breaker beats Roman, but they are my final two, because the other two in my final four were Gunther and Brock Lesnar, and I have them taking each other out, which then leads to Gunther Brock at WrestleMania.
I got them in the Elimination Chamber.
Gunther and Brock.
From the chamber with Braun, with Punk. And I just think they'll just beat each other up, and Braun Breaker until she runs through them all.
That's sounding like a very meaty chamber that you're you're building there. But we will get to Chamber and Mania, I am certain, in due course. Guys, that brings an end to our preview of the 2026 Royal Rumble. Before we get to the quiz question, do you guys have anything else that you want to add in that we haven't touched on?
It's a weird one because it's in Saudi. Like, nothing against the Saudi crowd. Generally, they're pretty good. But like, I think because you do always expect the big stars, it kind of takes away some of the quirks a little bit. Like, there's been rumors shouted around that Santino might make an appearance. Great idea. Is it going to get a loud response in Saudi? I don't know.
Yeah.
The other one that, earlier last year or mid last year, if you were to tell me Mr. Iguana was going to be in the Rumble, I'd go, yeah. Like, if it was in Vegas or New York or Chicago, he would be someone I'd be predicting as a surprise. It seems like the fandom has really taken a liking to him. I just don't know if it's a big enough name for that Saudi crowd.
That's it, isn't it? I feel similar about Joe Hendry as well. Like,
Joe Hendry,
does someone like Joe Hendry go over big in Saudi? I can't tell. I can't tell.
And that's also another reason I think, you won't get over doing that random win from NXT. I think it might be a bit of a by the numbers thing, and I think it's going to be very much focused on the big stars.
Seems to be the way, but the Saudi relationship has changed, I think, from the beginning. I think you're seeing more of the real people of Saudi Arabia in the crowd, and not so many dignitaries in armchairs. Like, I remember the first couple of Saudi shows having a really weird vibe. Yeah, and obviously they wanted, like, did you see that they wanted like Yokozuna and the Ultimate Warrior, and like, this is going way back to the original Saudi shows. So we've come a long way, but it doesn't leave the best taste in the mouth.
Also, I feel like this is partly why they've done Raquel and Vaquer on the Monday following. I'd love for that to get added to the Rumble. It's just a nice little palate cleanser. And I was wondering why not. But then I was thinking, well, no, this sounds bad, but you kind of don't want to cover up more of Vaquer. Like, half of the appeal is that sort of bracy look. It's just that sort of like, maybe I'm overthinking.
I think you're busy thinking about the Devil's Kiss.
Yeah, that's probably it.
So,
because he ain't got nothing on me.
So, right, let's finish off our Royal Rumble preview with a Royal Rumble quiz question. Now, if you listened last week, you will know that Daniel remains undefeated in Smart-Casual quiz questions. So we will see this week if Sanjay can knock him off his perch. As the loser of last week, it was my job to set the questions. Okay, so it will follow the same format as usual, with both of you giving me an answer in turn. Your question this week is all about the Royal Rumble. I think off air, Daniel, you said last week, you said it was going to be a Rumble question, so I'm going to do lots of research. So we'll see. We will see how much research
Do you
has
know
been
what?
done.
I actually didn't do any.
So there have obviously been 38 Royal Rumbles. Lots of wrestlers, lots of stars have appeared in multiple Royal Rumbles. My question for you boys is to name me the top 25 people with the most Royal Rumble match appearances. Okay. I will give you a clue. Everyone in the top 25 has at least 9 Royal Rumble match appearances to their name. Okay.
Is it both men? Oh, I suppose the women hasn't even been going that long, have it? So
Yeah, of course, there haven't been 9 women's Rumble matches, so no, this is an all-male list, which is not very progressive of us, but hey, it's the question. So, Daniel, I think we set the precedent last week that as the defending champion, you will start us off.
I think he has the most. Oh no, he has 12. Kane.
Kane is correct. Kane actually has the most with 20 Royal Rumble appearances.
I think it's the most consecutive though. 12 consecutive.
That rings a vague bell with me.
Kane was my first pick, but now that's taken. I'll say Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is on the list. He is number 5 on the list with 15.
Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston is number 2 on the list. He has 16 Rumble appearances.
I'm going to say The Undertaker.
The Undertaker is correct.
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, he also has 15 Rumbles. This is good stuff, guys. Sanjay.
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton with 14 Rumbles is correct.
The Miz.
The Miz, 15 Royal Rumbles. You guys are populating the top of this list really nicely.
I want to say Big Show.
Well, that's a good one.
I know he's been in loads, but
12 to
12,
be precise. Yeah, excellent stuff. Daniel.
I'll say John Cena.
John Cena scrapes into the list. He has 9 Royal Rumble match appearances. I expect because he was mostly in title matches.
So I'll go with the name that we're hoping to come back this Royal Rumble, Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho is there. 11 Rumbles.
Triple H.
Triple H, another one with 9, so he's sneaked onto the list as well.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah, 12 Rumbles for Shawn Michaels for the Heartbreak Kid.
Oh, my mind's gone blank.
Edge, another one with 9 Royal Rumbles. Well done. This is amazing stuff, guys. You're doing great.
Say Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy is not on the list. And Daniel, I think you started, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that means that once again, Daniel has won the quiz. You are undefeated. You have an unblemished record at trivia.
Taker. Taker reincarnated.
The streak is alive. Oh, that means, Sanjay, it falls on you to do next week's question. It falls on me to try and unseat the king from his throne. I cannot believe how many of these you got, guys. That was absolutely brilliant. I will try and go down anyone you missed. Kane, obviously, you said. Kofi, you said. The Miz. Did you say The Miz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dolph Ziggler is right up there. Randy Orton, you may have said. Gold Dust is 7th on the list with 13. Shelton Benjamin, 11 Royal Rumbles for Shelton Benjamin. It was always nice to see his name. You could have had Sheamus. You could have had Rikishi, Mark Henry. Cody Rhodes has been in 10 Royal Rumbles. The rest of these all have 9 to their name. You could have had Big E, Booker T, Drew McIntyre. Your favourite, Daniel, the Great Khali, R-Truth, and Viscera / Mabel snuck right in there at the end. I had to double check that one because I was like, Viscera on the top 25. But there we go. Daniel, you are the champion as always. Although you said last week, like the mighty Arsenal, but bit of a tricky weekend for them.
Let's not talk about that.
Let's not go there. Guys, this has been the Smart Casual Wrestling Podcast, where we have previewed everything that we think is going to happen this weekend at the Royal Rumble. You can follow us on X at Smark-Casual Pod. You can also find us on YouTube. I'm hoping you can find us on TikTok, but I am not very good with technology. But you can, keep searching for Smart Casual, subscribe to the podcast. You can reach us direct if you really want to at smarkcasualpod@gmail.com. Daniel, do you have anywhere you want to be found, or are you lurking in the shadows?
I'll lurk in the shadows.
Awesome. Sanjay, do you want to share your socials just before we go?
Yeah, so you can take my Instagram, sandy.beasley.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, guys.
And a big thank you for listening.